Hello guys, welcome back to TechTalk. Today we're going to talk about installing ReactOS on a Synology NAS. In my case, I'm using a DS918 Plus with BTRFS file support. Uh, Essentially what we're going to do is put Virtual Machine Manager on the NAS, go ahead and install it, and then we're going to download ReactOS 4.11, the nightly build, and after that you will have this. As you can see, we have the application manager with full networking support. So we can go to any of the locations here and actually download and install these applications within our ReactOS virtual machine. Additionally, you can go over here to Firefox and of course go to your favorite YouTube site, Wagner's Tech Talk. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing you'll need to do is to download the Virtual Machine Manager if you don't have it installed already. To do that, we're going to go to the Package Manager, and then once you do that, you'll see Virtual Machine Manager here under Business and Utilities. Go ahead and click Install. If you don't already have it installed, there'll be an Install button. I've already got it installed, so now I have an Open button. So go ahead and install it. Once you do that, you'll be ready to install ReactOS or any other virtual machine. When I'm trying out ReactOS, I typically like to play around with the very latest build, the nightly builds. And to get those, what you want to do is go to, first of all, www.reactos.org. And once you do that, scroll down here to where it says Daily Builds. Click Download here. And we'll go ahead and grab the boot CD. I don't care too much about the live CD. Hit search, and from there we see that we've got a roughly 70 megabyte file. So we're going to go ahead and download this. So I'm going to right click, save link as. Next, you want to download it somewhere on your server. So in my case, I've downloaded it to my server here. I have a share called software, a subdirectory called ISO or ISOs, and then I have a subfolder under there called ReactOS. As you can see, I already have one download from a couple of days ago. So I'm going to download that, hit save over here, and we'll go ahead and download it. Okay, so once it's downloaded, you need to extract it. So I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to say extract to this subfolder. Once the ISO is extracted, we can then take it and add the image to our virtual machine manager, and then we'll have it available to create a virtual machine from it. Now that we have our ISO image, we're going to go ahead and add it to Virtual Machine Manager. To do that, we'll go over to Image, and we'll click Create. Now we can choose an installation file, and in our case it's going to be the ISO that we just downloaded. So we're going to just call this ReactOS 0.4.11, and we're going to select from a file from Disk Station. So we're going to click Browse, and we're going to go to that same share. We're going to go to Software. I put it in ISOs, ReactOS boot CD, and here it is extracted. It's 95 meg. So we're going to do that. We're going to select, and then we're going to hit next, and we want it to go to this storage location, so we'll click apply. And now we have the virtual disk or the CD available to us in Virtual Machine Manager. Now we can go ahead and start creating our virtual machine. So we're going to go to Virtual Machine. We're going to hit Create. Now it's asking us what operating system that we want to run. In this case, probably the closest one is Microsoft Windows. So we're going to click Next. And we've got our storage location here. We're going to hit Next. And we'll call it ReactOS 0.4.11. As far as the CPUs, I'm going to go ahead and allocate 2. I've tried it with 1, 2, and 2 seems to work fine. Memory, I'm going to leave that at 2 gigabytes of RAM. Video card, I'm going to leave that as is, and we'll hit Next. Now, this is where we need to allocate the ISO that we just assigned under Images to this particular machine. Oh, that's right. It's asking us to download the guest tools. I've tried the guest tools on ReactOS. They will not install. So at this point, I really don't care to download it. So I'm going to hit cancel here. You might have better luck in a future release, but in the release that we're currently running, that won't run. So now we're going to go to ISO for boot up, and we're going to select ReactOS 0.4.11, and let's see, additional ISO we're not going to use. And our virtual disk, in Virtual Machine Manager, I can only allocate 10 gigs or higher. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to 10 gigabytes. That's a bit excessive, but that's the minimum that I can use for ReactOS. So now we're going to hit Next. We'll use the default VM network for the network type. We don't want it to auto start when the machine boots, at least in my case, and we're going to disable the virtual USB controller, leave all those to the defaults, click Next. All of these are fine. I'm going to go ahead and give myself permission to it, or you can leave it unchecked and it'll work just fine too. Hit Next. Click Apply, and now we have our ReactOS virtual machine ready to be installed. So let's go ahead and install it. We'll go to Power On, and then we'll go to Connect. Aha, here we go. So now we'll select English, United States in my case, and we'll go ahead and hit enter on and install ReactOS. And ReactOS versions, we'll hit enter. We accept these defaults, enter. Here's our unpartitioned space, we'll hit enter on that, and format the partition as a FAT file system, hit enter. And now we're going to set the directory to ReactOS, that's fine, hit enter. And now we're installing ReactOS directly in the virtual machine. This is only going to take a few seconds. It's very, very fast. Alright, now it's asking to install the bootloader. We'll go ahead and do that, hit enter. Now it's asking to remove any disks that you have. So I'm going to go out of full screen here and switch over to our server, and we're going to go to Edit, go to Storage, and we're going to unmount the ISO because we don't want it to boot back off the CD again once we finish the reboot. So now that's done. Now we'll go back over to ReactOS, and we'll press enter, and now it's rebooting. So now we have effectively installed ReactOS on the virtual machine. The only problem is once the install completes, it is not going to have the network drivers. So we're going to go ahead and go through the prompts here, and then we'll install the network drivers for ReactOS. So we'll hit next, next. I'm going to leave it to the defaults. You can change any of these values if you want, the computer name, password, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and change my time zone though to Central. Use the blue theme here. Typical settings, work group, that's fine. Alright, hit finish. It's going to restart again. As you can see, this is extremely fast. I didn't cut any of this video out during editing, so it's this fast. It's very quick. Okay, so now it's looking for some drivers that it's not going to be able to find, but we're going to fix that, at least for the network drivers. I can care less about some of these other ones. Alright, so as you can see, we have ReactOS. It's up and running. Let's switch back over to our virtual machine manager, and let's take a look at the network under ReactOS. And one thing you'll see here is the network interface is showing or reporting as an E1000. We don't have that driver on the virtual machine, so our first step is to go ahead and get this driver over to the virtual machine. Okay, as far as downloading the E1000 network driver, there's probably a lot of different ways to do it, but I'm going to show you a way that works well for me. Some people may not like this approach, primarily because it's utilizing BitTorrent in order to download the file, and I understand there's some security concerns about that, so make sure you have a good virus scanner and everything running on your local machine. I've never had any issues with this particular location for downloading drivers, but it is somewhat of a concern, so just be careful. And you could also use a virtual machine to download this file if you wish, if you're that concerned, and then scan it before you bring it into the host system. What you want to do is go to driverpacks.net, driver packs. And I'll include links in the description below for you to make it a little bit easier. So basically what you want to do is go down here to let's say Windows XP 2003, and you'll see LAN. Okay, I'm downloading the LAN drivers for that. So you click download, and after you do that, you come to this location and you click the download link here. And what that does is it gives you the torrent file that you can load up in BitTorrent or whatever torrent that you want to use, and you can use that to download the archive. Once downloaded, here's my completed torrents, and if I go to ReactOS, I see this location here. It's DP LAN, WinNT5, x86, 32.1111. Alright, so I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go to search over here, and I'm going to look for E1000. So I'm going to locate the location for the E1000 network driver, and it's going to find several locations here, and the one I'm looking for is this one in particular, the E1000 nt5.sys. So I'm going to right click and go to open file location. Okay, so this is the path that I need to put on the ReactOS virtual machine. Now to do this, it's a little bit tricky, not too bad. What I want to do is remember this file location, so I'm going to hit Control C, and now I see all of this is now on my clipboard. Okay, so now that we have the network drivers downloaded, now we need to create an ISO image from it, and basically we're going to associate this ISO image with the virtual machine as an additional ISO. One tool that I like to use is this Gizmo Manager. It's kind of an older tool. It's been around for a while. It's a great tool for what we need to do right now. It also does quite a few other things that we're not going to go over in this particular video. But the first thing that we want to do is go to create ISO from folder. So we're going to click that, and it's asking for the source location of the files that we want to use to burn the ISO. So I'm going to just paste in the file location that we just have, and I'm going to hit browse. Now what I want to do is I want to copy this off to the server. So what I'm going to do is just go to server 1, which is my server, and go to software and go to ISOs, ReactOS, and we'll call it ReactOS Network Drivers 1.iso. As you can see, I already have it up here from my own experimentation, but we're going to create another one here, ReactOS Network Drivers 1.iso. We select choose. We can give it a volume name, just call it Network Drivers, and then we click create. And once it's done, which it is, we can see over here in the right hand corner it's completed. So now we have the drivers that we need. Okay, now that we have the ISO, we need to go to image and go to create. So let's go hit create, and we're going to say ReactOS Network Drivers, and we're going to select a file from the disk station, click browse, and we'll go to software, ISOs, ReactOS, and we're going to select our ReactOS Network Drivers 1 and hit select, and hit next. Select our server location, hit apply, and now we have our network drivers almost done. There we go. So now we can go to our virtual machine, click on the virtual machine, click edit, we'll go to storage, and we're now going to mount the additional ISO, the network drivers. Click OK. So now we have associated the network drivers with the ReactOS virtual machine. So we're going to go back over to the virtual machine, and let's just make sure. Let's go ahead and size this window up a little bit. Okay, we're going to go over to my computer, and let's make sure that we can see the network drivers. It's not on D. The network drivers are on E. Okay, so here's our E1000 drivers. So everything's there. Now what we're going to do is go to Properties under My Computer. We're going to go to Hardware, Device Manager, and we see our Ethernet controller here. And we're going to right click, Update Driver Software. Alright, so now we're going to install from a specific location. So we're going to click Install Driver, and we're going to tell it include this path, and we're just going to go to the root of the network drivers CD or DVD, or actually it's our ISO that we just created. Hit next, and voila, it found the network driver. So we're going to hit finish, and now we are going to reboot. And our network adapter should be available at that point. going through all these prompts. We're just trying to find some additional drivers. All right, so as you can see in the lower right here, we do have a network icon. So let's go to Application Manager. It was now able to download the list of applications, so our network is live. So at this point, we can go to Internet and Network. And okay, so now let's go to Firefox. We'll right click, hit install, and it's going to download Firefox across the network directly to our virtual machine running on our Synology NAS. One thing I'm going to do while that's going is right click here, go to Properties, and go to Settings. I'm going to change my resolution just a little bit. Seems to run a little bit smoother when I do that. The mouse is more responsive. Import. So now we have Firefox up and running with network connectivity. We can go to google.com. We can go to youtube.com/Wagner's Tech Talk. Anyway, we have our network drivers installed. Everything seems fine. We'll go ahead and exit out of Firefox. There's so much more that you can do. I'm going to include some links below for some additional ReactOS videos and also videos on the DS918 Plus NAS that's used. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was informative. I hope you understand now how you can install ReactOS on your Synology NAS. There's so many more things that I want to cover. There's just so little time. But today we'll stop here. I hope you enjoyed it. Click the like button if you enjoyed this video. That tells me that of course you like the video. If you want to see more, if you subscribe, then that tells me that you want to see more videos like this. And have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.